take you to concerns over the coal.
You know, when you put a bunch of it into a river, it's going to significantly degrade habitat for fish and wildlife.
One environmental group speaks up on the dangers that Monday night's train derailment might present to the Yellowstone River.
You can do it.
And an All-American on and off the stage.
My biggest dream, honestly, is to be on Broadway.
A Wyoming student set to make school history by capturing a prestigious honor. The MTN 430 News starts right now. Well, good afternoon, and thanks for joining us on this Wednesday. I'm Russ Riesinger. The investigation continues this afternoon into Monday night's train derailment on private property just west of Miles City. We now know that derailment sent 25 coal-carrying cars off the tracks, with some dangling over the Yellowstone River. However, according to BNSF, none of those cars actually fell into the river. It remains unclear if any of the coal from the train spilled into the water. The goal was to have the track back open at some point today, but as of around 2:30, the county's fire chief says he hasn't seen any trains go through town yet. Well, despite not having a lot of information right now, one environmental group is already voicing concerns. They say it's always dangerous for any species in the river when the coal is spilled in or near the banks of the water.
Putting a ton of coal, which is something that's normally deep underground, not exposed to water, you know, when you put a bunch of it into a river, it's going to significantly degrade habitat for fish and wildlife. That's not a good thing. We want to be able to physically pick that stuff up. We want to be able to clean up that habitat. We want to restore it so that wildlife aren't harmed.
And we'll have much more on this in just under an hour on the MTN 530 News. An off-duty Yellowstone County deputy who suffered a self-inflicted gunshot wound after crashing his vehicle into a house earlier this month is now on administrative leave. 31-year-old Jason Thompson, a 5-year veteran of the agency, was found seriously injured at his residence during the early morning hours of Saturday, February 15th. Yellowstone County Sheriff Mike Linder says Thompson first drove his vehicle into a house at the corner of Hawthorne Lane and Barrett Road before fleeing the scene. Responders found his tracks, taking them to his residence, where they discovered him with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He was taken to a Billings hospital, but as of now, there's no update on his condition. The Montana Highway Patrol is still investigating the crash, with Linder saying Thompson is currently on administrative leave.
We're already starting to see the winds increase again, even around the Billings area and off towards the west. That'll be a big concern heading in towards tomorrow. But with those stronger winds, we'll continue to see those temperatures warm. And in fact, by the time we get into the weekend, 50s, maybe a low 60-degree reading somewhere across the region. That's all going to change as we start getting into the early part of next week, as we see a chance of rain and snow showers starting to move back in. At this point, it doesn't look substantial, but we'll give you more of the details in a bit. And speaking of details, you can always learn more about the forecast with our free downloadable weather app. Make sure you check out the local forecast. We give plenty of local videos on there with a great radar, and you can share your pictures and videos. The forecast coming up in a few minutes.
President Donald Trump's first cabinet meeting includes room for Elon Musk as the administration prepares to significantly trim the federal workforce even more. CBS's Erica Brown has the latest from the White House.
President Trump says more government workers will soon be fired.
We're cutting down the size of government. We have to. We're bloated. We're sloppy. We have a lot of people that aren't doing their job. We have a lot of people that don't exist.
The announcement came as he held the first cabinet meeting of his second term. Government agency heads received a memo today instructing them to submit reorganization plans by March 13th that include large-scale reductions in force.
Elon Musk spoke at length during the cabinet meeting, addressing the Department of Government Efficiency's coordination with agencies to make the job cuts.
We wish to keep everyone who is doing a job that is essential and doing that job well. But if the job is not essential or they're not doing the job well, they obviously should not be on the public payroll.
The president defended Musk's email to federal workers, demanding they list 5 recent accomplishments or risk losing their jobs.
Those million people that haven't responded, though, Elon, they are on the bubble. You know, I wouldn't say that we're thrilled about it. They haven't responded. Now, maybe they don't exist. Maybe we're paying people that don't exist.
And he said because so many employees did not respond, Musk could send another round of emails requesting accomplishments soon. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
The House GOP leadership passed its budget resolution last night. This now jumpstarts the legislative process for what President Donald Trump calls his one big, beautiful bill. Scripps News Group's Joe St. George looks at what happens next and when an actual bill with real cuts and real changes might be on the floor.
The House of Representatives just took a major first step to pass President Trump's legislative agenda, an agenda which includes priorities like no taxes on tips for service workers, no taxes on Social Security benefits, and new border wall spending. But in many ways, Tuesday's vote by Republicans was just the beginning, with the hardest part up next.
We have a lot of hard work ahead of us, but we are going to deliver the America First agenda.
Republican Speaker of the House Mike Johnson celebrating Tuesday's contentious vote, which passed the House 217 to 215. The budget resolution sets the parameters for Republicans in the House to follow as they now work to write the actual bill that could result in major economic and tax changes in the country. It calls for $2 trillion in spending cuts to offset $4.8 trillion worth of tax cuts and new government spending, like improving the country's southern border. Republicans have stressed this needs to pass because the 2017 tax cuts from President Trump's first term expires this year. And if Congress doesn't act, taxes will go up for many Americans. Democrats, meanwhile, have expressed concern over what will be cut. They've alleged that in order to pay for tax cuts for many high-income earners, programs like Medicaid will have to be slashed.
Nobody in this country wants to see the biggest health care insurance program in this country that insures seniors, working families, sick kids burned to the ground.
Speaker Johnson says nothing in Tuesday's budget vote specifically mentions Medicaid, but the speaker has previously talked about the need to look at the program. The hard part now for House Republicans will be negotiations with Senate Republicans on what should actually be included in the bill. President Trump will also be involved in the negotiations, which are expected to last weeks, with no final deal expected until April at the earliest. Remember, Republicans are attempting to pass this using a legislative process known as reconciliation. It avoids the Senate filibuster and also doesn't require any Democratic support. Joe St. George, Scripps News Group, Washington.
Two Billings nonprofits are joining forces in hopes of strengthening senior services. Big Sky Senior Services and the Adult Resource Alliance of Yellowstone County have agreed to merge and combine resources in order to create a stronger, more comprehensive support system for the county's aging population. The partnership will enhance efforts to address critical challenges such as housing, transportation, in-home care, food security, and elder abuse prevention. Both executive directors are excited for their future, saying that nearly 100 years of combined experience will have a major impact on the county.
We get to combine resources in a way that we can serve people with a one-stop shop. We have the opportunity for a senior to walk into any location and say, I need help with, and then they can name the things they need help with, or we can help identify those things for them.
I would say the impact is going to be great. And so that's really the driving force is, being able to meet our mission in a different way, a better way for both of us. And then on the business side of things, it's this collaborative approach to using resources.
Both directors ensure a smooth transition, saying all current programs and service will remain in place without disruption during the merger. Bighorn, Wyoming High School, just 15 minutes outside of Sheridan, is home to around 150 students. But one of those students, Lydia Marhoff, is proving that Hollywood may be in her future. And now she's making school history. Those acting skills, combined with her knowledge in the classroom, has her on the cusp of becoming an all-academic All-American. As our Matt Carmack found out, that award goes to only 2% of debate students in the entire nation.
It's here on this stage at Bighorn High School where Lydia Marhoff comes just about every single day in hopes of one day being on Broadway.
You can do your best, but I'll stand the test.
This small-town girl has big city dreams.
My biggest dream, honestly, is to be on Broadway. It's just so much fun, and everybody does so well on Broadway.
And when those stage lights come on, Lydia shines.
When I'm up here performing and doing my thing, I feel like I've truly earned what I'm doing right now.
I am so proud of her, and I'm so excited for her. she is going to do big things in her life.
As her biggest fans, sit back and watch.
And it is my absolute favorite part of my job is to watch them succeed.
Lydia has always been a very independent child, just a real go-getter. When she sets her mind to something, she definitely goes after it.
Lydia Marhoff is the first student from Bighorn High School to win an academic All-American Award for Speech and Debate, a prestigious honor given to less than 2% of national speech and debate students.
She has worked so hard, not only on her performing arts, but also academically.
Students who achieve the award must have at least a 3.9 GPA and must also accumulate 750 points from their performances. Simply put, that's nearly perfect.
I get really nervous, my heart pounds really fast, but I just kind of let it be and I push it out through my performance.
Extraordinary acts of incredible.
Lydia's specialty is interpretive speech, which is essentially acting.
Aren't you delightful?
A senior with a lot of talent and big aspirations, now looking ahead to what's next.
It feels awesome, and I have always focused on the students and their successes. I'm just one part of their life.
At the end of the day, it is so much fun. I love it so much. This is like my favorite thing in the world.
In Bighorn, Wyoming, Matt Carmack, MTN News.